All right, here's what I'm really excited about with you, especially.
All right.
5.
Jared probably won't enjoy it. We disagree on music all the time now.
Yeah, we might have to do this again with Jared. But we're gonna go ahead and go with top 5 favorite bands, and we're gonna name the band and a recommended album from that band, from said band. So I don't know if you guys have got your wheels spinning earlier. And got
I did a
some in
little
mind.
bit, yeah.
I mean, for me, when I say it, I don't want to like commit that these are my top
Right.
5. Maybe more.
They change out every
Yeah,
day.
they change out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys know my favorite of all time, and that doesn't change. But the rest are kind of. So I'm
Let's
my
hear it.
starting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Well, my favorite band of all time, most people know, is the Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins. Good choice.
Shame Billy Corgan just died yesterday.
Come on, man.
Wait, what happened?
Exactly.
No,
Didn't make headlines yet.
they tell me that every time. I used to get text messages in the middle of the night from Jeff or Jared that say, "Did you hear, man? I'm sorry to like." They try to make it so serious. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I just saw on here, Billy passed away, and
We need to like call the Onion or somebody and get one of those hoax
Yeah.
things going.
I swear to God, I almost tried to make a hoax thing like that and like make sure he saw it.
Yeah.
So it was like, what? It's true.
Call Snopes as well and be like, do not debunk this for 2 days.
Please.
Give
terrible.
us the weekend.
Speaking of Billy Corgan too, and on the wrestling subject, you guys know that he like runs NWA.
Yeah, he bought
NWA
it.
now.
That's crazy.
Cool. And
He's a weird guy, but like,
He is-
I
he's
I
strange.
love Smashing Pumpkins. I love him.
Well, I always hear such shitty. I always hear he's like an asshole or a dickhead. Or
I've
whatever.
heard different things. I think he's
I think he's misunderstood because I saw him
Yeah.
on Joe Rogan and I thought he was a pretty cool motherfucker. Like I thought he was pretty cool.
I've seen interviews where he just seems like the coolest dude ever, and then I've seen interviews where he seems a little like the interviewer might rub him the wrong way or
I
something.
mean, everybody's a fucking asshole sometimes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He probably and he's just in the limelight most of the time.
Yeah.
We get it.
I guess my recommended album, I love them all, but my favorite is Siamese Dream.
Yeah,
So
that's
if you're
Melancholy.
somebody that just listened to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, because that's their biggest, listen to Siamese Dream.
They're both good, but
Both
Siamese Dream is a classic.
That's my favorite.
So is Melancholy. But
They all are.
That one is their most popular. That's the one I grew up on. There's 2
Melancholy.
discs.
Yeah. I even, like a lot of people, an unknown album for them is right before they broke up the first time, when they still had like all their original members. They did Machina, the Machines of God. And a lot of people were already done with the Smashing Pumpkins by the time that came out. I think it came out, I was a sophomore in high school.
Machine of the Machine. What is
Machina,
it? Machina.
the Machines of God.
Oh, okay.
And then they also had an album that they just released to friends and family. It was like part 2. It was called Machina 2, The Friends and Enemies of Modern Rock, which was also good, but you can't like find it. You have to download the stuff on. But
He can do that.
But
shit.
Machina
I'm like,
has the original Machina, the Machine of God is it's still got the old Smashing Pumpkins sound to it, I think.
Okay.
So that's your number 1.
That's my number 1. Man, it's a revolving door after this.
you guys want to cut it down to top 3?
Yeah, let's do the
All
top
right,
3.
what top 3? Just because.
I'll say I'm just gonna throw this band out there, and I'll probably take such crap for it because they're more of a band I listen to now, and I've shoved them down your throat before, and I shoved them down Jared's. And they're a unique taste, but a band, and they're not even together anymore. They just finished up. Let Live.
Let Live.
I've never heard of them.
LETLIVE. Period. It always has the punctuation at the end.
Kind of like Portugal, the man. It's always Portugal dot like period, then the man. Gotcha.
So
It's a thing.
I mean, that floats around my top 5 all the time, but they're honestly one of the bands I still listen to more than any other band right now. They only made 3 albums, and they called it quits. The lead singer has a new band now. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of it. Sorry, I can't plug you. Can't plug you, Jason. The Fever 333, I think, is the name of his new band. But recommended album, all 3 of them, man.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I don't even know how to compare them to anything. They're a little Rage Against the Machine. They're kind of all over the place. Like he'll do everything from sing beautifully to kind of a little bit of flowing or rapping to screaming
That
just
sounds like Rage.
yeah, just he's all over the place, and he's known for his antics on stage. He'll do like backflips and stuff, and just jump all over the place and jump in the crowd, and that's like I have a shirt and it says like backflipping conglomerate punk rock hair bleaching sluts or something.
Jesus.
Wow. I think they consider themselves a little punkish, but I don't know. They hit like every genre to me.
I know your third.
I don't know if I know my third.
Sublime.
Sublime's not bad. Oh, no, he doesn't like
I
it.
don't see.
He doesn't get it, he says. I don't get it.
The Sublime thing is like you and Jared never let it die, but like I have respect for Sublime. I've never gotten into that. The little bit of ska in it. That's never really been my style. I listened to a little bit of Less Than Jake when I was younger and stuff, but
That's definitely like one of my least favorite genres of music. But I still
yeah.
like Sublime, but I can't put on a Sublime album and listen to the whole thing.
it never was my thing. I get it. I guess I used to say I don't get it. I get it now.
I don't get it.
Totally get the stoner view of it.
Right.
It's nice to put on and like.
It's mellow. The mellow tracks are good.
Yeah.
The stuff that was on the radio was good. But.
Yeah, people always love Santeria and all that, and I get it. I have fun with it, but I think in my 20s I was always like I was so angsty that like I didn't like happy music.
It was a little
like
too
that.
upbeat.
Yeah, it was too upbeat for me. I liked
the same reason No Doubt couldn't make it until like '94. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
they
everybody,
were very ska.
like that was their big, like their first album didn't do well at all because everybody wanted to hear like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and shit,
Exactly.
where they were all singing about.
Then
like,
they did that Don't Speak or whatever.
Yeah.
that album with Spiderwebs and Don't Speak and I'm Just a Girl that blew up.
That's a good album, though.
It is a
man.
good album.
I think that's their best album.
For sure,
It's
no
definitely their
doubt.
most commercial. It's like Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
think that's
Those
a
were
good
the
album.
albums of the 90s.
That's a good album too.
Alanis Morissette's underrated, man, and she's God. Don't forget that.
She is God and Dogma.
Third. Again, like I've always been a hardcore Hope's Fall fan. I don't know if you guys listen to them.
I remember the name.
Funeral for a Friend's up there.
That was mine. They're my
Still
top three.
Pearl Jam's always gonna be up there.
Yeah.
I'll throw something out that since we're recommending things that people probably don't know about. Everybody probably knows Killswitch Engage.
Yeah.
But I'll say for my third band, it's a band called Times of Grace. Because that's my favorite album of all time. They only have one album. They're finally supposed to make a second album. But what it is, it's the original lead singer from Killswitch Engage, Jesse Leach, not Howard, the guy that belts out.
The black dude.
The black dude
Yeah.
that belts out like
like
opera,
opera,
yeah.
yeah.
But Jesse Leach, because I always liked his lyrics and his emotion more. And then really the brains behind Killswitch Engage is Adam Dukowitz. He's my favorite musician.
He's probably one of the best musicians of our time.
Oh, he's my favorite guitar player. He's an amazing singer. He does backup on all the Killswitch albums. Any backup you hear is him. He's got a beautiful
and he sounds
voice.
better live than he does
sounds
on
better
album.
live. And so basically, he wrote the whole album for Times of Grace. It's his baby, and he said I couldn't picture anybody else singing on this but Jesse, the original Killswitch singer. So it's just the two of them, the whole album. Adam does he does the drums he does the guitar, he does the bass, he does 50% of the vocals, the other 50% are Jesse. They split writing lyrics, and they're finally supposed to make a second album, but that first album is my favorite album of all time because it's Killswitch in a different light. They really do. They have an acoustic song on there. When you hear Killswitch do acoustic.
Well, I know I watched something. It was kind of like a making of. Wasn't End of Heartache. It was what is it? End of Heart.
End of Heartache.
Yeah, End of Heartache. It was the one after that. They were doing behind the scenes of it.
Gosh, man, I'm
Had
so.
Rose of Sharon on it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Rose of Sharon, their third album.
Yeah.
As something about darkness.
As Daylight Dies.
As Daylight Dies.
Yeah. So, but
Something about darkness. As daylight dies. Yeah, that's about it.
But like I guess Adam is like to the other guys is like they understand he's the most necessary part of it, but he's the biggest pain in the ass. Like
He's
the one
a
drummer was playing
perfectionist.
it, and then he's like, "No, I don't like it. Do it again." And he did it the same exact way. And he's like, yeah, that was better, and the drummer's just like, that was the same fucking thing.
It was the same thing. Yeah, he's a perfectionist. He does all their albums now. He produces other bands, like a lot of other metal bands, like All That Remains on Earth. He's the producer for them. He's just a genius, but yeah, he's very stubborn. He's kind of like Billy Corgan in that sense. Like,
so you like stubborn asshole musicians?
I guess I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but when they wrote Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, I guess like everything James wrote, the Asian guitar player, like Billy wasn't happy with and went and rewrote it himself.
No, let's do it like
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard rumors. So
yeah.
So Times of Grace, look him up right now.
I remember. I'm not a huge. What is Jesse Leach? Is that how you say his
Jesse
name?
Leach.
Yeah, I was not a huge fan of him,
Howard.
but I liked Times of Grace. I liked that album. It was
That
good.
album.
I never heard it. Shit.
Yeah.
I'll have
It's
to look
worth,
it up.
It's worth the listen.
I'll look it
to.
up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm one of those people he was talking to.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna nail mine pretty quick because we're running low.
I'm
on
sorry.
time. No, you're fine.
It's all my fault.
I would say my first would definitely my favorite band of all time.
He had to look it up.
No, I'm just looking up albums.
Referencing, yeah.
Mine would probably be Incubus. Would be
Okay.
my
Good one.
yeah, I saw them live, and like they're another band that I really appreciate. Bands that can, when you see live, they sound just as good or better.
Yeah.
And they blew me away with how good they sounded live. I'm like, I felt like I had headphones on. It was like beautiful. I would like a lot of their earlier stuff. Like Science was a great album. I would recommend that one to start because it was their really their first kind of. They had Fungus Among Us before that, which wasn't very good.
No, Science was great, though.
Science is awesome.
Cassette tape over there.
So that's how. Man,
I still will listen to
I found
Science
that in
and
an
the other one
abandoned
that
house.
you're probably gonna say.
What's that?
I still will listen to Science and the other one that I think you're
Make
probably
Yourself.
Make Yourself.
Yeah, Make Yourself. To me is track. I think it's 12 tracks or maybe 13. One, whatever it is, you can start at the beginning and listen all the way through and love every song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my number one band. I would say Coheed, Cambria is my second. I know that's your.
Something tells me that's not the last time I'm gonna hear that name.
No, you're not. You're definitely
This dude
not.
is I love him. I went to. We're going again.
Yeah,
What date is it?
February 26th.
I saw that
that.
you guys got
26th.
tickets. That's awesome.
Which is thank you by the way.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Christy, my sister.
And we were going to debate this on one of our future episodes.
We still will, yeah.
Between the albums, yeah. And I don't know. I'm between the first and second one.
Those are my two favorite. Those are my two favorite for sure.
I'm between that. I'm gonna wait to recommend one of those until I really break it down on the show with us.
Gotcha. But you're saying at least one of the first two.
One of the
albums.
first two.
Yeah.
And but they're all good. They're all really good. Even the stuff that I'm not familiar with anymore is like their newer stuff, but like I still like it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's hard for a band to do 5-6 albums and still have a good music. To me, like it blows me.
Still be consistently good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man. Number 3 though. I want to say Tool.
You know, I'm glad you said that because I felt bad not even mentioning them.
I want to say Tool.
I feel like some bands are just obvious. Like they don't even need mention. They're up there in the upper echelon of music. You know.
Like,
anybody that listens to the kind of music that we all listen to had some moment with Tool.
Right.
No, for sure, for sure.
I don't really care about their newer stuff. I guess they haven't had much newer stuff, so it doesn't.
They have a new one coming out.
They do. Yeah, it's been coming out for like 5 years.
It's been coming out for a while.
That's true. Which might be a great thing, actually.
How do you say it?
Lateralis.
That was my first Tool album. My mom bought it for me. I loved it.
Nice.
But
it's a good start.
yeah, I don't know, man. Undertow was good.
Undertow's great, and of course, Anima.
Anema's.
However you pronounce it.
I think it's Anema. Is the one I would recommend if you want. That's where you're going to listen to most of their hits. Probably, if I had to say one album, it'd be that one. It's probably their most famous album.
H46 and 2, the song Anema.
Yeah, I love 46 and 2.
Push.
One thing, there's a college for like not a college, but a school for like talented music kids. and these kids play 46 and 2, and it is beautiful.
I think I've seen that
I
before.
posted it to the old book face before.
The old book face. It is beautiful. I played it. I played it for all the guys I work with, and they're like, "Wow, that's really good." And these kids are like 10, 11, 12 years old. But yeah, those are my three. Those are my three go-tos, anyways.
Those are
some big names.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you guys can think of my top two already. Like, I'll do it this way. This is cheating a little bit, but since they're so neck and neck, I'm gonna make Pearl Jam and Coheed my number one.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, and for obvious reasons, anybody that listens to this show knows why I love both. When it comes to Pearl Jam, a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this one, but I'm pretty damn sure I love their first two albums for sure. But when it comes to I don't even know. I love Yield. People hate on me for loving that album, but I love Yield so much. I don't know why. Maybe it was the right time in my life for that album to come out, and it resonated with me. Yeah. And even though on the Ohio WrestleCast episode that Evan was there for, I ended up getting a higher vote for 10 over Versus. I would probably recommend Versus as a first listen.
I'm a 10 guy.
Not only that, but most people...
Versus.
Most people would probably know stuff off 10 without even really like giving them a chance.
They heard that on the radio.
Exactly.
Because there's still songs that are played on the radio.
Release sells it for me, the last track.
But Versus probably has like the best range of how good they can be.
Yeah.
I mean, Rearview Mirror alone. Just listen to Rearview Mirror. You know what I mean? If I have to recommend one song, Rearview Mirror or the acoustic version of Black.
Okay.
But
Black is beautiful.
And for Coheed, since you went ahead and said the first two albums, because this is a toss-up for me too, I'm going to go ahead and recommend Good Apollo 1.
You love that too.
Which is their third album, and is probably the best representation. Like, that is the album that set Coheed in motion for what Coheed would end up being for the rest of their career. Like, that was the formula. Like, they started that formula with their second album, Keeping Secrets. Right. And then they perfected that formula with Good Apollo 1.
They got better. Yeah, musically they got better.
Yeah, like I mean, like the songwriting isn't as good as it used to be, obviously, right. But no band is, you know. Right. But yeah, I'll go with Good Apollo for that.
What's that?
Why is that?
I think didn't we? I think maybe me and you talked about it.
I think I narrowed it down. First album for sure. That's like their whole life of writing.
Exactly.
It's probably been rewritten a few times.
Your whole life
played it 1,000 times, and they've mastered it. It's the best version of those songs it's ever gonna be. Second album, not quite so much, but they've probably been writing those songs since they have been recording the first album. You know what I mean?
Now they know some things from playing with other bands and being in the studio with professionals.
Exactly. Like, and they haven't really felt themselves out yet. The first album was an experiment, essentially.
Right.
After that, they're like, this is what we are now. Like, it's a different.
I think
thing.
when also like I think it has a lot to do with when you're when you're sleeping on a mattress on your buddy's floor and you're torn in a van with 5 other guys, man, you're going to be a little bit more passionate about making whatever you have work.
For sure.
And you're going to have more emotion into something rather than, okay, we have a tour bus, we live in a giant house, and like it's harder to write shit from the heart when everything's everything's looking good in life.
Corporate, and then you got people pushing it. We have a deadline now.
Yeah,
hard times, man. As Dusty Rhodes would say, hard times.
Hard times.
Hard times, man. And like, there's certain people that can't write when they're happy. Like people can't write when they're happy.
Yeah.
And or their material just isn't as good when they're happy. And then that's the way it is. Sometimes you make it, you're happier, you're married, you have kids. Like, things are different now.
Right. Things are different, yeah. That's a perfect way to say it.
Suffers, yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess to move on, my number 2, which is usually my number 3, but since they've moved up since the co-favorites, a lot of people don't talk about them. Most of the people I bring them up to don't even know them. But when I play them for them, like, oh, I've never heard anything like this. But Horse the Band.
I know Horse the Band. Just a little bit, though.
Love Horse the Band. Love the guys in the band. They're all extremely smart. Their lyrical content is underrated. They're one of the most intelligent bands I've probably ever heard lyrically. Like, they'll go from singing, like, they start out singing about, like, video game characters and shit. And, like, nowadays, you listen to their more recent albums, it's all, like, existentialist, like, meaningful shit. All wrapped up in like a a Nintendo Core package, which is what people call them, even though they hate being called that, I
Nintendo
guess.
Core. I've heard of that genre, and I've heard of Horse the Band, but I've never actually listened to them.
Yeah, I only know like a handful of songs.
Best way to describe them, they're just a metal band, and then like the main guy in the band is a keyboardist, and everything sounds like mid-eye sound, so it all sounds like
8-bit.
like 8-bit Nintendo soundtrack stuff, which is awesome, especially mixed with like metal. And then the singer guy, he sings a little bit more nowadays, but he just screams over it, and it's not for everybody, but I fucking love that band so
I'm
much.
gonna check them out today.
Yeah, I definitely, now that you mentioned it.
Recommended albums, most people would probably go back to their back catalog, but I think as of today, and they haven't released a new album in like 8 years, but they're still together, they still tour and shit, and they're actually from the town I was born, Anaheim, California. But I would probably recommend, when it comes down to it, a newer album, which isn't their most recent, but their second to most recent. It was called A Natural Death, which is really good. And if you want to go back and check out some earlier stuff, The Mechanical Hand, I think, is their third album. Great album as well.
I'm gonna check all these out.
But nowadays,
I like Nintendo.
Just like most bands, like no band is the same. They've definitely evolved over time. Like they're more melodic. The screamer guy who used to only scream sings a little bit too now. Like
yeah, I knew they were heavier because Gabe loved them and he showed them a little bit to me back in the day.
Horse the Band, definitely recommend Horse the Band. And number 3, man.
Not the animal.
Number 3. Horse the Band, not the animal, and not Band of Horses either.
That is also a band of horses.
Is it really?
Yeah, and like because Horse the Band isn't like hugely popular. You type in Horse the Band, half the fucking search shit will be Band of Horses.
Because they've gotten more commercialized.
Yeah, well they're pretty popular too. They were all over the radio and shit. But and number 3, didn't even think about because Horse the Band is usually at number 3. I'll probably have to say number 3 would be Foxy Shazam. Not sure if anybody's heard of them.
Nope, never heard of them.
I don't think I have.
People who listen to like the top 40 and shit will probably know their singer because he was in a Macklemore song recently.
Okay.
He was Downtown. You guys heard that song?
I'm sure I have.
He's the best part of that song. He's the chorus. Guy reminds a lot of people compare him to like Michael Jackson or Freddie Mercury. Dude, there's nobody quite. They're from Cincinnati too. They're unbelievable. There's no band like them. Best way I could describe them is like a modern day Queen, essentially, mixed with maybe a little bit of Michael Jackson.
I want to hear that.
But if you've heard that song Downtown by Macklemore, he's the guy singing the chorus, and
I try to
he's the
avoid
best part of that
Macklemore.
song.
Yeah, I don't know if
Dude,
I know it because I don't
I
listen.
never heard a Macklemore song. That's the only one I've heard, and it was purely because he was in it.
I don't know most popular music.
That thrift shop song, I was done with them after that. I was
so-
like, ugh.
Yeah. But no, Downtown is a decent song purely because Eric Nally, the singer of Foxy Shazam, is in
I'm
it.
definitely going to check out both those.
And
Shazam.
they're
That's a
one of those
great name.
bands, they started out much heavier. Like their first album, much heavier album. And as time went on, they're one of those bands that kind of reinvent themselves with every album. But there was a consistent like 2-album arc there where they were very much like Queen. And even the way the guy dresses and cuts his hair and shit, he was very Freddie Mercury-esque. Like you could tell he was channeling Freddie Mercury for that shit.
Okay.
And then their last album, which was called Gonzo, I believe, they basically went like straight 80s. Like they look like an 80s band, like Flock of
Glam rock?
Seagulls or shit. Kind of. I mean, they're still the same band, and they're still genuinely good, but like just the way, like especially the singer guy reinvents himself almost every
That's like
single
their
album.
gimmick now is 80s.
Kinda,
Yeah.
kinda, but they're just genuinely good, and the dude's got a voice like no other, you know. But and I guess when it comes to recommended album, if you want to go way back, listen to I believe it's called Introducing Foxy Shazam. Got a song called Dangerous Man. There's a music video for it.
Foxy Shazam.
That was when they were going to less heavy and more just like melodic hard rock style, and then for a more recent venture into them, I'd probably recommend either what the fuck was the name of that band or that album? I can't remember. Might have just been called Foxy Shazam. Fuck, I can't remember.
I'm gonna check him out for sure. That name.
Foxy Shazam, yeah, like it's a hell
Sounds
of a
like
name.
a character off of like F is for Family or something, or like
A little
Aqua
bit.
Teen Hunger Force or something like. That's Foxy Shazam right there.
They're a band like no other. They're one of those best bands out there today on my list for sure. Just check out anything
We
from
just all
Foxy.
gave each other homework.
Yeah.
We really did. Like we're all gonna have jam sessions when we get home.
Besides me, I was pretty basic. But
Yeah,
those
way to stay in the box.
my bad.